Thanksgiving, that magical time of year in America when families reunite, turkeys tremble, and pants with elastic waistbands become a fashion statement. But have you ever paused mid-bite of sweet potato casserole and asked yourself, why do Americans celebrate Thanksgiving so passionately? Is it really about giving thanks? Or is it just about getting seconds before Uncle Bob wipes out the mashed potatoes? Today, we're diving into the stuffing of this holiday tradition to uncover the real reasons Americans cling to Thanksgiving like gravy on Grandma's china. 1. The myth of the Mayflower, pilgrims, parties, and pies. Let's start at the very beginning, 1621. Plymouth, Massachusetts. The traditional tale goes something like this. A group of buckle-hatted pilgrims, having barely survived the harsh New England winter, shared a harmonious feast with local Native Americans. There was turkey, peace, and mutual gratitude. Everyone held hands and sang Kumbaya. Sounds lovely, right? Too lovely. In reality, the first Thanksgiving was more like a harvest festival meets survival party. The pilgrims were starving, the native Wampanoag people, perhaps out of a combination of diplomacy. And let's keep these clueless colonists from dying all over our backyard. Showed up with food. There's no historical proof they ate turkey. They probably ate venison, seafood, corn, and squash, and probably zero pumpkin pie because, spoiler alert, the pilgrims didn't have ovens or Cool Whip. So why the idealized version? Because America loves a good origin story. It makes us feel rooted, nobly, and festive. It's easier to bond over a shared dinner table fantasy than over actual colonial land disputes. And nothing says shared values like pretending everyone got along over cranberry sauce. 2. The real MVP, Abraham Lincoln's holiday hustle. Fast forward to 1863. The United States is in the middle of the Civil War, and things are going terribly. Brothers, fighting. Brothers, the nation divided, chaos everywhere. Enter Abraham Lincoln, a president famous for top hats, solemn speeches, and knowing how to pick the right moment for a national holiday. In a moment of inspired nation branding, Lincoln declares Thanksgiving a national holiday, not because he's craving turkey, but because he needs something, anything, to unite a fractured country. Lincoln's version of Thanksgiving wasn't about pilgrims or pumpkin pie. It was a PR move, a national group hug. He hoped that, by giving thanks for what little people still had, he could soften hearts and shift focus from fighting to healing. It was basically the 19th century version of a feel-good viral campaign, only with more beards and fewer cat videos. Food. Glorious food. Why? Turkey rules the table. Let's be real. Most Americans don't celebrate Thanksgiving because of history. They celebrate it for the food. The real national pastime isn't baseball. It's overeating in late November. Turkey is the star of the show, an awkward, flightless bird that, let's face it, tastes kind of dry unless it's smothered in gravy or deep fried with reckless enthusiasm. But why turkey? Partly tradition, partly logistics. Turkeys were native to North America, large enough to feed a crowd, and not typically used for eggs or milk, like chickens or cows. So you could slaughter one with a relatively clear conscience. Also, by the mid-1800s, cookbooks were pushing turkey as the ideal centerpiece for a proper Thanksgiving meal. It was marketing genius, like saying, "What's Christmas without Santa?" or "What's Halloween without candy?" Except in this case, what's Thanksgiving without a bird big enough to feed your entire extended family and still leave enough leftovers for sandwiches until Christmas? Add side dishes like stuffing, which has never seen the inside of a turkey in modern homes. Green bean casserole, the dish no one really likes, but everyone makes, and pies, glorious pies. And you've got yourself a recipe for passionate celebration, family, football, and forced togetherness. Thanksgiving is also America's unofficial family drama Olympics. Once a year, people fly across the country, sometimes thousands of miles, to sit at a table with people they spend the other 364 days avoiding. It's a strange ritual. You gather, you eat, you try not to bring up politics. You fail. Someone storms off. Someone else brings up that one embarrassing story from 1998. Then you all hug, eat dessert, and say, "See you at Christmas." The meal isn't just about food. It's about rituals, watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, arguing over which football game to watch, that one cousin who insists on bringing tofurkey, Grandpa falling asleep in the recliner, Aunt Lisa's secret recipe cranberry sauce that is, in fact, just the canned kind sliced into circles. It's this weird blend of tradition, repetition, and emotional endurance that makes it special. The chaos is the point, a time to be thankful, or at least pretend. At its core, Thanksgiving is supposed to be about gratitude. And sure, many Americans do take a moment to reflect on what they're thankful for: family, health, a decent Wi-Fi signal. But let's not kid ourselves. Thanksgiving is performative gratitude season. It's the time of year when people post staged photos of perfectly cooked turkeys, captioned "so blessed," while their kitchen looks like a war zone. Still, in a world full of stress, division, and never-ending notifications, taking even one day to pause and say, "Hey, life's not totally terrible" is actually kind of beautiful, even if you're saying it with a mouthful of marshmallow-topped yams. So why do Americans celebrate Thanksgiving so passionately? Because it's not just a holiday. It's a carefully curated combo of myth, food, family chaos, and national identity, all baked into a day that's somehow both heartwarming and mildly traumatic. It's messy, it's indulgent, it's emotional, it's uniquely American, and we've only peeled back the top layer. We'll look at how Thanksgiving evolved into Black Friday's opening act, how advertising and TV shaped its modern form, and why, despite everything, Americans keep coming back for seconds. Black Friday, Butterballs, and the big picture. Previously, we dug into the roots of Thanksgiving, the myth of the Pilgrims, Lincoln's Civil War marketing strategy, the noble turkey, and the annual ritual of family dysfunction disguised as gratitude. But that's only half the story. To understand why Americans celebrate Thanksgiving so passionately, we need to look at what happened when consumerism, pop culture, and couch-based football collided with a colonial-era feast. Spoiler: it gets weirder and a whole lot louder. Black Friday, from turkey to tactical shopping. Thanksgiving is all about gratitude, sure. But the very next day, heck, even by Thursday night, people are brawling over discounted air fryers at Walmart. Enter Black Friday, Thanksgiving's over-caffeinated, coupon-wielding alter ego. The term Black Friday was originally used by Philadelphia police in the 1950s to describe the chaos of post-Thanksgiving crowds. But like most chaotic American traditions, it was quickly monetized. Retailers saw an opportunity. If people were off work and full of carbs, they were ripe for capitalistic plundering. Today, Black Friday is practically its own holiday. Some stores even open on Thanksgiving Day, which is either very convenient or completely horrifying, depending on whether you value family time or half-price flat screens. Why does this matter? Because it reflects a deep truth. In America, celebration and consumption are soulmates. Thanksgiving is no longer just about being thankful. It's about being thankful right before you tackle a stranger for a $30 toaster oven. Television, making Thanksgiving look way better than yours. Let's talk TV. Specifically, how Thanksgiving looks on screens versus real life. In the world of sitcoms and holiday specials, Thanksgiving is an idealized fantasy. A cozy dinner, heartfelt speeches, maybe a pie-related mishap. In real life, you're more likely to burn the turkey, forget the rolls, and argue with your nephew about crypto. But American TV has played a huge role in mythologizing Thanksgiving. Think of the Friends episodes. Think of Charlie Brown's sad little popcorn dinner. Think of The Simpsons, Modern Family, Everybody Loves Raymond. They've all done Thanksgiving, usually with a lesson at the end. This pop culture portrayal reinforces a collective national vision of what Thanksgiving should be. Even if our own experiences don't match, we measure them against what we see on screen. Thanksgiving becomes not just a meal, but a performance. And Americans love a good performance, especially one with a turkey and a laugh track. The turkey industrial complex. Speaking of turkey, let's talk about the industrial bird of destiny. Each year, Americans consume around 45 million turkeys on Thanksgiving. That's right. The turkey industry basically exists to supply one giant feast, and it's gotten elaborate. There's the Butterball Hotline. Yes, it's real, where you can call in for emergency turkey advice like, "Help! I defrosted my bird in the dryer, and now it's stuck in the lint trap." There's the annual presidential turkey pardon, where the sitting year president spares one turkey's life in a nationally televised ceremony, as if the bird were a white-collar criminal pleading for leniency. It's both adorable and absurd. Turkey has gone from a food to a national mascot, wrapped in cultural symbolism and cranberry sauce. And whether you roast, smoke, or deep fry it in a backyard contraption that's probably a fire hazard, it's all part of the pageantry, the power of nostalgia and carbohydrates. Thanksgiving isn't just about what happens today. It's about recreating yesterday. People are obsessed with doing Thanksgiving the way Mom used to. Never mind that Mom's stuffing was dry or that her green beans came from a can. It's the nostalgia that counts. In fact, one of the secret ingredients of American Thanksgiving is memory. People crave comfort foods from childhood, even if those foods were, objectively, kind of gross looking at you. Jell-O salad. Why? Because Thanksgiving functions as a kind of emotional anchor, a way to feel rooted in time, place, and tradition. It's a ritual that says things may change, but at least the sweet potatoes will always have marshmallows on top. Add in a little family drama and a football game, and you've got a meal with plot development. Football, the holy gravy, grail of American entertainment. Let's be clear. Thanksgiving football isn't just a game. It's a sacred rite. Even people who don't care about sports will suddenly have strong opinions about whether the Detroit Lions will win this year's spoiler. Probably not. It all started in the 1920s, when pro football teams realized Americans needed something to watch while digesting. Since then, Thanksgiving and football have been joined at the hip like mashed potatoes and gravy, or dads and recliners. Some families plan their entire day around kickoff. In others, arguments break out over whether to switch from the game to a Hallmark movie marathon. Either way, the television is on, and someone's yelling at it. It's not just entertainment. It's part of the Thanksgiving DNA. Diversity, evolution, and the modern feast. Now, let's not pretend every American Thanksgiving looks the same. For many immigrant families, Thanksgiving is a chance to blend cultures. You might find tamales next to the turkey, pho before the pie, or biryani alongside the Brussels sprouts. It's a beautiful, edible metaphor for the American experience cultural fusion over a shared table. Others skip the meal altogether and volunteer at food banks or host Friendsgiving dinners with their chosen families instead of blood relatives. Thanksgiving, in its modern form, is more flexible than we often admit. In fact, the ability to reinterpret and reinvent Thanksgiving is what keeps it alive. Whether you celebrate with a traditional meal, a vegan potluck, or just a frozen pizza and a prayer, the holiday makes space for anyone willing to give thanks, or at least pretend to. The satirical soul of it all. Let's be honest, Thanksgiving is a little bizarre. You cook enough food for a small army. You dress up just to sit in your own house. You pretend to like Aunt Susan's experimental cranberry chutney. Then you watch a parade featuring inflatable cartoon characters and listen to commentators pretend it's not 38 degrees outside. It's a holiday steeped in contradictions. Historical myth versus modern reality. Gratitude versus gluttony. Peaceful family gathering versus low-level emotional hostage situation. And yet Americans love it. Because underneath the satire, the awkwardness, and the bloated stomachs, Thanksgiving is about something real. A brief, delicious moment to pause the noise. Gather your weird little tribe and say, this life, messy as it is worth celebrating, even if it ends in a pie fight. So why do Americans celebrate Thanksgiving so passionately? Because it's more than a holiday. It's a full-on cultural event, a performance of patriotism, nostalgia, consumerism, and community, a chance to laugh, to argue, to eat too much, and at least for one day to be thankful, or pretend really convincingly. Sure, it's imperfect. Some parts are problematic. Others are just strange, but it's also one of the few days where millions of people all stop at once, sit down, and share a ritual that connects them, even if only over gravy. And that, in a country that agrees on almost nothing, is kind of a miracle.